The reason why generational trauma continues is because a lot of people normalize it and they pass it on to their children. Now, let me give you context. When I'm talking about generational trauma, I'm talking about the things that you have been through as a person or from your childhood up till now, right? Or the things that you experienced in your childhood that you are transmitting to your children. So a lot of times in our childhoods, we go through or we went through a lot of trauma. We went through stuff, right? There was punishment, there was hitting, there was no I love yous, no hugs, nothing, okay? That is a childhood that can be termed traumatic, right? Because children need love, they need care, and they need to be shown it, right? Not only to just for them to just assume that they are loved. Okay, so if you were beaten in your childhood, if you were hit a lot, if you were spoken bad words, if the things that came out of your parents' mouths were not things that edify you, were not things that built you up, that is trauma. And for us to be able to break that trauma cycle, okay, we need to be intentional, we need to be disciplined, right? Disciplined parents, this is disciplined mothers, okay, to be able to break that cycle. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I'm doing to break generational trauma in my kids' life. So one of the things that I'm doing to break generational trauma, learning to apologize to my children. Apologizing is not a sign of weakness. It is you modeling to them what you want them to do when they make a mistake, right? So especially for us African parents, like it needs, I don't know, some special grace for us to apologize to our children. Apology to your child should not be that difficult. It's not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it's a sign of strength for you as a parent to tell your child that you're sorry for something that you did to them. Okay, it models to them what they should be doing when they make mistakes. Another thing I do is I learn to honor, respect, and accept my child for who they are, not for who I want them to be. A lot of times we have unfulfilled dreams, we have unfulfilled desires, and we tend to want to impose that on our children, which is not right, because your child is a being on his own, is a person on his own, and he has his own destiny, his own life to live. So imposing your life or your unfulfilled dreams on your child is such a burden, is such a heavy burden for a child to carry. So let them be. Honor them, accept them for who they are, not for who you want them to be, and let them be authentically themselves. Next thing I do is to model what I want to see in my child. Okay, I don't just tell them do this, do that. I model it so that they can see and learn. Most of the times children learn by seeing us do things. Children learn by what they see us do. So you cannot tell your child to do this and you are not doing, they are not seeing you doing that. Okay, so model what you want your child to do. It's as simple as making up the bed, for example. If you want your child to know how to make up the bed or to make up his bed when he wakes up, model it. Don't just tell him, go and make up your bed, or do like this, do that. They need to see you doing it. I heard someone say that children don't do what you say, but they do what they see you do. That's something that I've even seen in my own children. It's something that I've watched in my children. A lot of times the things that I say in the course of the day, I hear them repeating those things, right? I didn't tell them say these things or do those things. I just hear them in the course of the day, or after a while, after some days, some weeks, or even months, I would hear my child saying those things that they heard me say. So be mindful of what you say around your children, of what you are modeling to your children. Okay, even being kind to a neighbor, being polite to people is something that you model. So you have to watch what you're saying, how you treat people, because your kids may just be watching. So this next point is an advice. It's something that I'm doing, right? But I'm not yet there. So this is an advice to you and an advice to myself, right? Stop hitting and yelling at your child. And I'm saying that this is an advice to us because I don't hit my children, but I still yell. The fact that I am conscious of it, the fact that it's something that I'm working on, is what gives me hope that it's possible. Okay, so when I yell at them, later on I go back to them and I apologize. I tell them that I'm sorry for yelling at you. It's not okay to yell at people. Okay, so I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then I tell them what I intended to, or what I told them before, in a calmer tone. Yelling and hitting your children only makes them lose confidence in themselves. It makes them feel bad about themselves. It makes them beat up themselves mentally for the things that are going on at home, and it makes them have a low self-esteem because they don't feel good about themselves. They feel that they are bad people. That's why they are being yelled at. That's why they are being beaten. So please, parents, let's stop hitting and yelling at our children. We are all a work in progress. Don't give up on yourself. The next thing that I'm doing, and I'm so proud of myself for this, is to tell your children you love them. I practice doing this every blessed day, especially when they're going off to school. I tell them, have a great day, I love you, see you soon, stuff like that. So I always do this every day, and I'm so grateful for my aunt who raised me, because this is one of the things that she always told us, the children that she raised. She will tell you from time to time that she loves you, and that's something that I grew up with, and it's what I'm transmitting to my children. So please know that the way that we are parented is not completely bad, right? So you just have to pick and choose what you are taking from your childhood days and implementing or transmitting to your children now. So not everything that happened to us in our childhood days was bad. We pick and choose what we think is healthy, what we think is edifying for our children, and we transmit it to them. So I love saying I love you, giving them kisses and hugs is another way that I am breaking a generational trauma in their life. The next thing I'm doing to break generational trauma is to understand instead of criticizing and judging my children. Lots of times, children's thoughts and emotions are valid. They make sense in their own world. Okay, when you learn to get into your child's world, you see that their emotions, the things that they think about makes sense. Okay, but if you refuse to get into their world, then you will not be able to understand your child. So as much as possible, always get into your child's world instead of imposing your own world on them. That will greatly help your relationship and build their self-confidence also. The important thing that I'm doing with my kids is to pay attention to them when they are telling me something, when they're sharing something with me. A lot of times our heads are buried on our phones. Man, I'm guilty of this, but I always have to catch myself. I put myself at that time in my child's shoes, and I'm like, what if I were talking to someone very important, someone I love, and their heads were just buried in their phones, and they were not paying attention to me or giving me eye contact, right? And even listening to me, I will feel bad, okay? So when my child comes with something, I have to put my phone down or stop what I'm doing and listen to them and validate them or give them a response to something. Invalidating or calling silly what your child is showing you or talking about could just be ruining your child's day, because they think that he is talking to you about may just be the best thing that would have happened to him that day. So please learn to give heed to your child, learn to listen to your children, learn to put down your phones and listen to your children when they talk to you. Allowing your child to express his emotions is also a big thing for me. I let them express how they feel. I don't make them bottle up their feelings, their emotions by screaming at them or trying to hush them. For example, if your child is crying for something, it may not really make sense to you, but that thing is is affecting your child. Okay, because it's affecting your child, you have to look into it. You have to let them express, let them have a safe space where they can express themselves and learn that emotions are meant to be felt and not to be bottled up, and for you to feel like, oh, I don't have feelings. Like, nah. Okay, that's why your children go to school and they're a certain type of way, and then when they come back home, they're a certain type of way, right? I always hear the report of my children that, oh, they're so quiet in class, they're like this, they're like that. But when they come home, I know that I don't have quiet children. That's because they feel safe at home to express, they feel safe to be who they really are. They have that safety, they feel safe at home to express who they really are. So always allow them to express themselves, express their emotions, and please do not invalidate their emotions. As always, remember that breaking the cycles is not easy. As a matter of fact, it's extremely hard, but it takes practice and just for you to take one tiny step at a time. Doing these things can be very difficult for people for whom this was not the norm. For people who were not used to all these things, it can be hard. But don't give up. Don't beat yourself. Just keep practicing, and with time, you'll see that you're getting better at breaking generational trauma with your kids and in your family. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.